Good day, and thank you for joining us for Tyler Duncan's commercial real estate market update on the Denver market. We're looking at a graph here today of interest rates and trends over the last several months. We're going to talk about different metrics in the market and how they impact your activities here in the commercial real estate market. Charles, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Charles Shapiro. I'm a broker associate with Tyler Duncan. And one of the things you'll see about the graph is something we already know. Interest rates have shot through the roof. The cost of financing real estate has nearly doubled. That makes buying real estate more expensive. It makes refinancing real estate more difficult until we find an equilibrium in the marketplace.
So before we get into some of the market metrics and how they impact you, I want to just give you a little bit of background on Tyler Duncan. Tyler Duncan is a full-service commercial real estate firm. We do sales, leasing, property management, development, and consulting. We have offices in Denver, Maryland. We're also licensed brokers in Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Washington, D.C. So with that, Charles, there's been a lot of doom and gloom about the commercial real estate market in the business press. What's your take on that?
Well, like we were saying, interest rates going up the way they have really makes the whole process more difficult and more expensive. But when you listen to CNBC or Fox Business News, what you're hearing is this whole nebulous term, commercial real estate, when the commercial real estate market is made up of different segments, all of them that operate differently. So office operates differently, and it's really taken a big hit. But industrial and retail are doing pretty well.
So Charles, you mentioned the office market. Could you expand upon that a little bit?
Absolutely. Before COVID hit, there were technologies in place so that people could work from home. If you were doing customer service for a company, you could actually do your work from home, so it really wasn't that difficult. So once COVID hit, companies were able to seamlessly work from home. Now, people are expecting to work from home. That makes it much more difficult for downtown areas to entice workers to come back when it's a lot less expensive for them to work from home. The other thing about COVID is that, it actually helped the industrial market. So I really want to, find your take on the industrial market. Could you tell us what you've been seeing in the industrial market over the last year or so?
Absolutely. To Charles's point, each segment is performing differently within the commercial real estate area. And with regards to the industrial market, here in Denver, the industrial market has been very strong for the last several years, as it has been nationwide. Denver's industrial market has been in the top 10 performing U.S. markets for the last several years. And by way of example, in terms of the third quarter metrics this year, the vacancy rates right now are 6.9%, a little bit higher than the last few years, but still a very healthy vacancy rate for the industrial market. Also, over the past year, we've seen a 6.5% increase in rental rates in the industrial market. Over this past quarter, there's been 1.7 million square feet of space absorbed within the industrial market. That's a little bit lower year over year from the third quarter of 2022, but still a strong number. When we switch gears, would you mind talking about the multifamily market a little bit?
One of the things that we're seeing in the multifamily market is a real strength in the market. And the strength is caused by the fact that residential real estate is so expensive. It costs a lot to buy a house. So more people are having to rent their real estate. But what you're also seeing is that at the same time, there's about 32,000 units that are under construction right now. So what we expect to happen because of that is that you will see the vacancy rates tick up in multifamily. You will see rent growth slow for a little while. And then after all of these units are brought onto the marketplace, you're going to start seeing rent growth go up again. You'll start seeing vacancies go down because really there's very little that's in the pipeline that's going to be built over the next few years beyond that 32,000 units. What are you seeing that's going on in the retail market?
Yeah, so the retail market, similar to the industrial market, is very strong, both in Denver and also across the country. So here in Denver, year to date, right now, we've got a vacancy rate of 4%, which is a very low vacancy rate by historical standards. Also, somewhat counterintuitive, over the past year, we've only seen an increase in rents of about 1%. We'd expect to see that a little bit higher with such a low vacancy rate, but still it's positive, which is a good thing. There are some submarkets here in Denver which are seeing more elevated rents. So they include like Rhino, Cherry Creek, and Uptown. Overall, there is strong demand in the retail market. There's also limited supply coming to the market in terms of new construction. So we'd expect further increases in rents and the market to remain strong for the next several months. So Charles, anything you want to add to that about the retail market?
One thing that we find in retail is that when market dynamics change, retail is able to change much more quickly. You have more creative people in that business. So they've been able to make changes due to COVID that you haven't really seen other market segments be able to do.
So I'm going to switch gears and just hit on the hospitality market here in Denver. And again, similar to the industrial market and the retail market, the hospitality market has also performed very well. So right now, over the last 12 months, we have an occupancy rate of 69.4% for the Denver hospitality market. And pre-COVID, that occupancy rate was at 73%. So we're down a little bit after COVID, but still a positive number nonetheless. And comparing that to the U.S. occupancy rate, where the hospitality market shows a 63.8% occupancy level, the Denver market is stronger unequivocally. In addition to that, we've also seen an increase in room rates here in Denver over the last year, 7.4%. So again, a very positive number. And with the strong hotel and hospitality market here in Denver, there's been about 2,000 new rooms added each year going back to like 2017. So the only year that hasn't happened is 2020 when we were in the middle of COVID. But again, 2,000 new rooms per year since 2017. So why don't we switch gears, Charles, and talk about some of our services, in particular our tenant representation. With regards to tenant representation, why is it important that tenants be represented by a broker in the marketplace?
When a company is looking for office space, retail, industrial, if they don't have a tenant representative who they have working with them, they have the landlord's rep. The landlord's rep may be really nice, they may be great people, but they're not working for you. Their job is to get the best rate with the best terms for their employer, who is the landlord. So what you find when you have a really solid tenant rep broker like Tyler Duncan is, number one, you have someone who's on your side, a fiduciary, someone whose job is to work for you. Number two, you can't find all the spaces that are available that fit your requirements. You can go online and try, but you will miss many, many of those types of spaces that could really meet your needs. Number three, in the negotiating process, you may get a good rental rate. You may get a good annual increase, but there are so many more factors to negotiating a good deal that the tenant rep broker is going to go over with you in concert with your attorney. So it can be a very complex process. The other thing is that if you're doing it on your own, it is taking a tremendous amount of your time to do. So let's just say that you have 20 spaces out there that fit your requirements, and you're looking at 20 spaces. My goodness, it's just such a waste of your time. A good tenant rep broker is going to help you find the spaces that best meet your requirements so that you don't have to waste a lot of time working at spaces that don't work for you. So these are some of the things that a good tenant rep broker is going to do. They're going to save you money by getting you the best deal, and they're going to save you a whole lot of time in the process.
Just to pick up on that, as Charles mentioned, there's many factors to be considered when you're looking for space in the marketplace. And a lot of times, tenants or prospective tenants will get overwhelmed by the different leases that exist in the marketplace. Each property sector often uses slightly different types of leases. So, for example, in the office market, frequently there's a full service lease used. And then in the industrial market, there's an industrial gross lease used. And then also in the retail market, frequently the triple net lease is used. And that's a lease actually that also is used in some of the other segments as well. But the triple net lease generally tries to shift the liability or the risk as it relates to the landlord's operating expenses over to the tenant. And there's other factors that need to be considered in a triple net lease, really all leases that are important that we can bring to the table. Charles, do you want to add anything to that?
A lot of times, especially when rental rates are getting really high, what a landlord will do is they will quote the rent on a triple net basis. So let's just say that rents are $40 full service, which includes your taxes, your insurance, suite cleaning, utilities, everything that goes to running your space. They may quote $22 a square foot. So it sounds like a lot less. So the questions there is, well, who has to contract for trash removal, for suite cleaning, for all of these things? Who is responsible for making sure the costs are minimized? And am I really getting a good deal on that? I'll give you an example. You have some buildings where they can't cut the utilities. So let's say I'm next to a company that is using a tremendous amount of electricity because they have a huge number of computers there, and they're cutting that bill up, and you're paying really for their use of electricity. So you have to be on top of what's going on in your leases to make sure that you are actually getting the deal that is really most beneficial for you.
So Charles, why don't you give us a rundown on what's happening in the office market?
Well, as you're going to hear if you watch the media, is that office really is taking a big, big hit. And here's why. Number one, once COVID ended, people that were working from home didn't want to get back into the office. So downtown areas really only have 55, 60% of the employees down there. And so what that does is that hurts the office buildings. It also hurts the retailers that are downtown. You also have situations where large companies, as they're leasing new space, they're not leasing the same size or bigger space. They're leasing smaller spaces. That is a huge, huge issue. Smaller companies, they're not renewing their leases. They're moving to higher quality buildings, taking the same amount of space or a little bit less. So we're seeing leasing activity out there, but it's really, really challenging when people are leasing smaller spaces. People aren't expanding. The other thing in Denver is that the vacancy rate now is 16.4%. 16.4% is the highest vacancy the Denver market has ever experienced. So that's a real, real issue, especially when you need vacancies at 14%, 13% to just break even. So it's really, really scary for landlords. Chad also mentioned earlier about on the retail side, rents were going up by 1%. That's similar in the office market. But when you think about it, with inflation at 3, 4, 5%, the real rent increases are negative. Now, we also were talking earlier about how you will see people generalize the market. There are certain markets in Denver that are doing really well. Cherry Creek has a huge office market that is doing extremely well. They have low vacancies. They have great amenities in the area, where downtown is having real problems attracting new businesses and new employees. So what we're seeing is the new buildings that are being constructed right now have more amenities. They're trying to make it more exciting for people to actually come and work in the office again. And time will tell if it works. I've always been one that thought that everything goes back to the mean, that people will eventually come back to the office. But we also see, Chad, you probably see it in your business, where people can work from home and you let them if they're really important.
Absolutely, yeah. And just to expand upon Charles' comments about the office market, the situation here in Denver is not unique. Every major city across the U.S. is facing the same challenges with the office market. And in an effort to deal with that, landlords and governmental bodies are encouraging the transformation of office into different types of building uses. So for example, We're seeing office buildings being converted over to apartments. We're also seeing office buildings being converted into public storage and other different kinds of uses. So it's a positive thing, and it's definitely favorable for the office market, although it will take a long time to work through the excess inventory that's in the market.
So what we're seeing in the office market is that companies that want their employees to work downtown have got to have exciting offices. They are going to have gym facilities. They're going to have rooftop bars. They're going to do whatever it takes to get people back in the office and excited about working in the office. So, Chad, over the next year, where do you think opportunities are going to be in the marketplace for people that are investors looking to buy stuff?
So with the interest rates rising, there are definitely going to be more buying opportunities in the marketplace. Folks that have underwritten properties when they bought them under tight metrics, lower interest rates, are going to be challenged as interest rates rise. So there's definitely going to be opportunity in the marketplace with office buildings. Many banks have already moved to take back properties, office properties, so we're starting to see opportunities there. We have the opportunity for the conversion of the properties that we've mentioned. Also, if they're bought cheaply enough, people can just hold them till the market rebounds further. But we also think there's going to be some opportunities in the industrial sector, less so in retail, but also in multifamily. So at the end of the day, Tyler Duncan Realty Partners is best positioned to help you take advantage of the market metrics. So we appreciate you joining us for this market update today. And if we can be of service to you and help you navigate this market, please reach out to us at the following contact information.